The time it take to win. The time you made the greatest. Yeah, you made the greatest time of your life. Right now is greatness. You picked the perfect time in the world. Is right now. That time is greatness. I don't care how long it take. I don't care what storm you've been through. It's greatness. It's how legends is born. Greatness. I couldn't do it without the greatest group in the world. Greatness. I couldn't do it without the greatest nephew in the world. Greatness.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports Network and the host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. And you're watching Our Lady of Sports, Sonia Pearson, host of Prim and Proper Sports. Thanks for watching.
Hi, guys, and happy 6/12/24. I have a very special introduction tonight to you guys out there in Prim and Proper Land. I'm your host, Sonia Pearson. This is Lawson, and today is his 6th birthday, my first son. So everybody out there, just wish him a happy birthday. In fact, I'm going to let you see him really well. I'm going to take this virtual background off so that I can make sure he's very visible. So he is the big 6 today. So I'm dedicating tonight's show, 6/12/24 of Prim and Proper Sports, episode to Lawson Snickers, the big 6. And welcome, everybody, one and all. Thank you so much for joining me once again on this amazing podcast. I hope everyone has had an amazing Wednesday. You guys, we are moving on through this month. Sunday is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the dads, uncles, brothers, and mentors out there in all the viewing land. Now, tonight, I have another blessing, you guys. I have the absolute pleasure of bringing on another co-host, a podcast guru himself of the Detroit Lions, the Detroit, you guys. Let's get it. Don't get it twisted. I hang with felines, Panthers, and Lions. Gonna bring on the one and only Nate Castro of 313 Den. What's going on, Nate? How you doing in the D12?
I'm doing good. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining me. Introduce yourself to the audience that's coming on. Hello, everyone on YouTube, Prim and Proper Sports, and the Roku channel, Northeast Streaming Sports. Shout out to Linda and Mac out there, and the Huddle Sports Network on Fire TV. Nate, tell us all about yourself now. I've already said you're the host of 313 Den.
Yes, I am the host and founder of the 313 Den. Man, we want to get out there and be the best Lions podcast that's out there. And, you know, we started beginning of this year, so we're excited. You know, I've always wanted to do my own podcast. It's been a dream of mine, and I have a great co-host in Jeremy Myrick that we do it together, and we both love our Lions, and we're excited for the new season. But we're true fans. We're not the fans that just jumped on the bandwagon because the Lions started winning. We've been there through the thick and thin. We've been through 0-16. We've been through the craps of Matt Patricia and so on. And we roll with our team. And there's no sorry, I'm trying to lost my thought there. There's no secret that when you have a strong foundation that you're building and you have a strong ownership, you have a strong GM, you bring in a coach that can motivate anybody to play for him, you're going to win and you're going to have success. And that's what the Lions are now doing. They're doing it the right way and they're building the right way. And we're not going anywhere. We're only going to get better. And honestly, Super Bowl or bust this year.
All right. Well, you know, I know Dan Campbell talked about extremely how difficult it is to get back to the Super Bowl. But you guys, you know, you all kept your nucleus intact And so, I'm just, Lawson and I have the same question. He has the same question. He's wondering, he wants to hang with the Lions as well, felines to feline. So what would you tell someone that is like, okay, we know we saw you. There was no doubt that the Lions were roaring. I mean, I became a believer. I was literally like, oh my gosh, Dan Campbell and the Campbellites are up here.
I like that. Campbellites. I like that. I'm going to use that. I like that.
Gave him a whole thing. And hello to Yoli, Green Bay Packer fan, one of your arch rivals up in the NFC North. And she's saying hello to both of us.
Hello, Yoli. I'm sorry you're a Packer fan, but hello.
And Lawson says hi to you too, Yoli. Thank you. So what would you say? The NFC North is going to be extremely competitive. I had Ken Dobie on last night. He is the Bears fan. And so he was giving me his, interpretation of how he thought the NFC North was going to fare out for the Bears. Some people call them the Care Bears, like Yoli did. But what would you say to the naysayers who are like, well, wait a minute, Nate, yeah, y'all look good. And you guys clearly were competitive, but the NFC North, the entire North right now is definitely capable of being competitive this season. What would your thoughts be or response?
Well, first off, this division is probably going to be one of the most competitive in the NFL in general. You have young talent at all levels with each of the teams. Lions did win the North last year, and they well deserved to win the North, and I see them doing it again. And I'll tell you why, is because if you look at the lay of the land of all these teams, yes, they all got better. We're not denying that. However, two of these teams have rookie quarterbacks. And you know all about rookie quarterbacks. Yep. Bryce Young was the number 1 pick last year for y'all. And it was tough. Let's be honest. It was not.
Everybody can't beat CJ Stroud. It's an acclamation from college. Yeah,
but even I tell people about CJ Stroud, as good as CJ Stroud was, he only won around 10 games. And it was, they had an extra game they played. So, it's not like he blew the world on fire. You know what I'm saying? Is he going to be a good quarterback? Yeah, probably. But I think Bryce Young could be good too. But the thing is that rookie quarterbacks struggle. It's just a common thing because you come from college. Let's be honest here. Caleb Williams and JJ McCarthy came from more of a spread offense and didn't play a lot under center. Or in JJ's case, he didn't really throw the ball a lot. Caleb threw the ball a lot, but didn't play under center. So both of these quarterbacks are going to have huge transitions to the NFL. So that being said, two of those teams, I don't expect really to make a lot of noise. I think a lot of their fandom says that they will because of what's around them. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a proven quarterback, it don't matter how good your talent is. You're not going to win.
So what do you think about Caleb Williams? Are you saying that he's probably, do you think, so there's been a tantrum amongst fans, Bears fans, as well as, the NFL as a whole, that Caleb Williams, like that the Bears look better than they have since 85 across the board. Would you agree with that? Or would you think that it's overhyped because, that's their fan base?
Look, I'm not going to lie. The Bears are probably one of the most talented teams in our division. There's no doubt about that. They increased their receiving core by getting Keenan Allen, who's a dog. He killed us in last year against when we played him.
Yeah.
They got DeAndre Swift, that used to be a former Lion. So they re-signed Jalen Johnson. They have a lot of weapons and a lot of good players. The thing is that it starts and ends with the quarterback. The teams that aren't good is because they don't have a good quarterback. The teams that are good and great is because they have a good quarterback. We don't know what Caleb Williams is going to be. When I watch Caleb Williams play, I saw a guy that likes to run out of the pocket, throws off platform a lot, kind of does a lot of Patrick Mahomes in some aspects.
Yeah,
he's not going to be able to do that in the NFL. He's going to have to throw from the pocket consistently. Now, the one thing I will say about Caleb Williams is that Caleb Williams is probably got the best situation that a rookie could ever have. You've got two legit receivers and one possible rookie receiver that we expect to be good, but I don't give anybody their flowers until I see him play an NFL game. So you've got two legit receivers, you've got tight ends, you've got running backs, you've got a decent O-line. Like, you have all the pieces for Caleb to be successful. But it's up to Caleb is if he's ready. You know, that's my question. And then same thing with Minnesota. You know, Minnesota, you've got JJ, you've got Addison, you've got Hawkinson, you've got a good line, you've got Aaron Jones, who came over from the Packers, but you have a rookie quarterback. So kind of circling back to that is like, basically, I'm not worried about those two teams, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because they're going to have their lumps. They're going to take their losses. It's probably not going to be a year for either one of those teams. They'll probably be fighting for last place or third place. And then you have the Packers, of course, which, you know, your friend Yoli's a Packer fan. And I'll say this about the Packers. Jordan Love, I think, is going to be a really good quarterback, but he only played really 8 games of really good football.
Yeah, I forgot all about Green Bay. All I could think about was I literally legit have been telling everybody, hey, everybody, Green Bay was that sneaky good team that came up and eliminated Dallas out of nowhere. That's when people started paying attention to Green Bay, is like the last couple of games. They didn't notice it because I didn't notice it. And I was literally like doing this show every week, like, oh, okay, some shows never mentioning Green Bay. And then
we got plenty of shows on this huddle thing that loves Green Bay. So they get all the love in the world.
Yoli is a Green Bay fan. She has 8 brothers that are Bears fans, and she is the only Green Bay fan. And they all live in Illinois. So Yoli,
she's been giving it to the Bear fans because they haven't beat the Packers in almost, I think, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, she's always on there talking about that, and very, you know, interactive. I love Yoli. She's amazing. So all right. So you know, what about Minnesota? I kind of, you know, Kirk Cousins comes to Atlanta, and now they got JJ McCarthy, who, in my opinion, was not supposed to be moved up that high to be taken in a draft. But they got Sam Darnold also. Jets, Carolina Panthers, and I think he went somewhere out in the West for a minute. And now he's with you guys, and they are projected to start Sam Darnold. I don't know. To me, my opinion is always some quarterbacks or team players, period, any position, go to other teams and flourish. The Panthers are a prime example. DJ Moore was good, and then he had a mediocre year, and now he's with Chicago and balling out. Christian McCaffrey, who was good in Carolina, but repeatedly got injured because of our O-line, now is on the cover of Madden. The second running back behind Barry Sanders, who had his, you know, a couple of covers, but Christian is the first running back to have the complete cover to himself. That will be debuting in August of this year on Madden.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Offensive Player of the Year nominations a couple years ago with the Panthers. He almost was Offensive Player of the Year this year. His name was up there amongst talks with the quarterbacks, and he is just balling out. He got like a small injury, but he played through it. He missed no time. This is the first season that I think Christian has played consistently the entire season because he wasn't injured.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my thing. You know, we see that, and we see, so Sam Darnold, I say all that to say Sam Darnold could go to the Vikings and be better than what Kirk Cousins was.
I mean, that's a tall task. I mean, Kirk Cousins has been pretty consistent his whole career. Sam Darnold has some talent. The way I look at it is that it's not surprising that Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Vikings, came out today and said that Sam Darnold is their starter going forward right now. I don't expect JJ McCarthy to play this year. I think the smartest thing would be to let Sam Darnold play the whole season and let JJ sit down and learn the offense, learn his players, and then next year he'll be ready to start. I don't like the idea of throwing out a rookie quarterback. First off, a quarterback who's never really been a drop back passer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
He came from an offense in Michigan that is very run heavy. Yeah, he throws some play action passes. He can throw like the little slant passes. We saw that in the playoffs. But to be in the NFL, you have to be able to throw from the pocket. You have to be able to do 2-3 step backs and then throw. And I'm not saying he can't do that. I think he just needs time on task. And if anybody knows anything about Kevin O'Connell, he comes from the Sean McVay tree. Sean McVay loves to throw the ball. And it's going to be very hard to get JJ McCarthy to buy into that right off the bat. You're going to have to wean him in and take time with him. That's why I say Sam Darnold is the perfect quarterback this year for the Vikings. You take your losses, and you've already locked up JJ, so he's not going anywhere. You already paid him. So you take your losses, you lose a year, just like the Lions did, We lost the year with Goff when he first came to Detroit. We lost a year, but the next year we got better, and then we've gotten better the year after that too. That's kind of what the Vikings, I think, are going to do. Is don't start JJ, just play Sam Darnold. He's an average quarterback. He might have a rebirth. Who knows? You could be right. He could be better than Cousins. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but who knows what's going to happen. But I think he's the perfect bridge quarterback to JJ McCarthy this year.
Okay. And I second that. It's going to be exciting to see if we actually see Sam Darnold look amazing. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that you can't count anybody out yet because you never win a playoff game or a game period in June. I mean, this OTAs, mandatory mini camps just started on yesterday. It was a big hype about Aaron Rodgers and a few other people, but of course his name was at the top, missing mandatory mini camps. Right now it's just that time of year that they're just giving out the small reports of what they are seeing on the field. Not too much, of much anything. It's just basically the fact that this is one of those times that we are kind of in the in-between. Even Tom Brady came out today, and he's been very vocal the last few months, maybe even a year, of his perspective of the game of NFL. And he even said today to the NFL reporter, Charles Robinson, who is a reporter with Yahoo Sports, he basically told him that quarterbacking has gone backwards in the NFL. I mean, he's been vocal about talking about how, quarterbacks are the plays and what have you. I mean, some of this stuff is kind of like, okay, we've already seen this, Tom. And I guess since he's out of the league, he's just supposedly bringing awareness. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
what are your thoughts on that?
Let me kind of piggyback on what Tom said, because I think he's right. If you look at last year, there was more success with backup quarterbacks than there's ever been in the NFL. Like, I think almost at one point, half the league was almost playing backup quarterbacks.
Yes, 64 snaps last year were taken by rookie quarterbacks.
And or rookies or just journeymen or whatever. I mean, we're just talking straight backup quarterbacks. And the starters, either were hurt, weren't getting it done, whatever it was. And these guys just took the mantle and went with it. One of them, Baker Mayfield, just cashed in, got a brand new deal with the Buccaneers, which he deserved. And then, you got a guy like Russell Wilson who left, who it was pretty much a mess in Denver. Don't know why they traded for him, but they got him. Now he's in Pittsburgh.
That's a mess. That's a mess. That's a mess. The fact that they would bring Justin Fields there and then they wanted to do that. And hello to James. There's some comments coming in. Let me take a small pause. Yes, Yoli's saying, I like the little blue Smurf. That's funny. James is saying, what's up? Hey, brother, what's going on, James? J Train of the Friday with the Fellas. It's a regular show I have now. Started out with them occasionally coming on. People love them. So we now have them Fridays at 7. It's him, Anthony Fernandez, who is known as A-Train, and then Kevin Davis, who's known as just Kevo. So hello,
Nice.
and Yoli's definitely saying there's good. They're a good team, the Lions.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, but Kirk Cousins never won. I kind of want to go back to that for a minute. Kirk Cousins never won a playoff game. He's just good, he's just good there. But Atlanta thinks he's going to be their saving grace down here. I mean, what do you think? Atlanta already has a complete package. I know,
Yeah, Atlanta's like Kirk Cousins. He actually, kind of is like what Caleb's going into a situation. He's going into a very loaded team with Bijan Robinson, Drake London. He's got Pitts at tight end. He's got a good line. They've got a solid defense. He's coming into a good situation, and realistically, that division is very up for grabs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Carolina could shock the world and make the playoffs or win that division. Yeah, exactly.
You're only the second person to tell me that, so thank you for that, Nate.
No problem. I mean,
on my good side.
I mean, Bryce Young at some point I think is going to pop. And I love the Xavier Legette draft pick. That was a big guy I wanted the Lions to get. I mean, I'm not mad. I like Terrion Arnold. I love Ernest Rakestraw, but I was a big Legette fan. And I know you watched him because he played in South Carolina. I mean, the guy's a dude. He's a huge guy. But he's got speed too. Yeah, he's home.
Yeah, perfect.
And so you got a perfect weapon for, with Bryce Young. You got Thielen still. I think Thielen's still on the team, right?
Yes, okay. AT. Fingers crossed that he stays. Like, I heard some rumblings early on that he might not, and I'm like, please don't say that, because the AT connection was real. Like, he was just clutch in a lot of
he's a perfect compliment for a young quarterback like Bryce Young. You've got to surround weapons with a young quarterback. That's why some of these quarterbacks, people are expecting them to be better because of the weapons they already have around them. And but kind of going back to what you're saying about the Falcons, I honestly don't know, because you've got the Panthers, you've got the Falcons, you've got the Saints, you've got the Bucks. You could argue on any of four of those teams could win the division. It's just a matter of quarterback play. And if we're just talking quarterback play, because that's the most expensive position on the team and the one that gets judged the most, I would probably say right now it's Baker Mayfield. Mayfield,
says that.
He got his bag. He got another contract. He played well, even though we whooped his butt twice last year.
And let's be clear, even though he started out with Cleveland, he was a Panther and we let him go. So that's another example.
Yeah.
Like, I still don't know. Like, Baker did decent for us. So it's just going to be one of those things like, oh my gosh, like it's going to be a very competitive league. You brought up CJ Stroud earlier and how he came into the league, basically a phenom in his own right, because very rarely, I mean, we see it from time to time, but a quarterback, especially with a new coach as well, to come in, take your team all the way up to the playoffs. And they actually had me rooting for them silently, because I was just like, wow, what an underdog story to come from the bottom and go all the way with a rookie quarterback and a rookie coach. The AFC South is going to be super competitive coming up. Good. I guess you already got it.
I was getting a little dark there. Sorry.
I literally had sent you a message, but I don't think you saw it. So I was like, when we
I didn't see it. No, I didn't.
Maybe you'll see it. There. So awesome. So thank you.
There's light now. We're good.
Yes, because our audience would have been, what happened to our guest? But I'm glad you're here. So thank you. You did ask me before the show. That's poor parenting on myself, because I forgot it's getting dark. So yeah, but what would you actually say to that? Oh, yeah. So Yoli, he does have his own show. Tell some people are just coming in, Nate. So let them know how to find you.
So yeah, you can go to our Facebook page, the 313 Den. Search that and follow our page. We always add content every day. We try to scrounge up any kind of Lions news right now, because right now we're in the dog days of summer. But we try to add little contents. We put our podcast up there. Our podcast is the 313 Den. It airs 6 to 7 on Saturdays on the Huddle Stream Network. please check us out. It's Central Time. Yeah, we talk Lions. Like I said, right now we're doing a fandom kind of like the next 6 weeks, since we're not really going to be having a lot of Lions stuff going on. We're bringing on fans, and so if you're a Lions fan, or or even an NFL fan, I mean, we'll chop it up with you and we'll talk your team. But yeah, we're kind of giving to the fans like this opportunity, giving a platform for a show. It's like, hey, come on our show, talk to us, and so yeah, if you're interested, please message us on the Facebook page and we'll get you on.
And I love that, because you guys are a new show. But
Yeah.
I remember when I tell you guys, because you and I were talking before we started live, I've been doing this since 2016. I didn't realize it was that long until, YouTube shows you when you created your page. And I'm looking at some of those old videos, like Cam Newton and Luke Kuechly, and all of them were still on my team when I started my podcast. I still have podcasts on the original one, because it started out with me just doing a Panthers podcast, kind of for the fact that I had the Pantherettes, fan club. And then I was just like, well, I have an interest in all sports. So then I found myself talking about other teams, like, we got beat by them today, or we beat them. And then I was like, okay, you know what? It just became a whole thing. And then Mac and Linda, the great producers at Northeast Streaming Sports, reached out to me last fall, and the rest is history. It literally took off from that point. I can't thank them enough. I love them. They are amazing people up in the Northeast. And they have the Sunday morning big sports show, the Sunday morning big football show. Mac and Jack have their show. A lot of NFL guests in and out. Jim Jeffcoat, Byron Williams. We have Pags, the Philly sports guy. A lot of well-known people in the sports industry. And so, now that I have the blessing of being on the Huddle Sports Network, because, I was linked up with you guys a couple of months ago, it's my obligation and my joy to also expose other people to, the Midwest, the teams, the North, the North, as they say. And so it's been extremely exciting being on the Tundra Network with them. And now I'm looking forward to my appearance with you on 313 Den, because
absolutely.
I told you I was definitely pulling for the Lions. Us felines got to stick together. And you guys actually made me have hope in football again when it was.
Well, I'm glad, because I think it reinvigorated a lot of people just in general that love the NFL, because, if you see a guy like Dan Campbell, he's such a passionate dude. And one thing I love about Dan Campbell is that he's 100% real. Like,
he's very authentic.
He doesn't really believe in coach speak. He tries to, because I'm sure his people have said, hey, coach, we might just need to just tell them what they want to hear, but he don't care. Like, he's real as it comes. And I was listening to some of the pressers from our assistant coaches, because they were kind of interviewing them. And the one guy that never met this guy before, I'm going to give you a little quick story. So because they asked him, how did you know Dan Campbell? And he's like, I didn't know him. He's like, I went to one of his OTAs and he didn't know who I was. I guess he maybe just popped in for whatever reasons or was invited. And he's like, Dan Campbell singled me out and talked to me for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes aside when I was there. Didn't even know who I was. Just talked to me for 30 minutes. And then he's like, when he came in to interview for the position of he's a safeties coach, come in for the safeties coach interview. He's like, we talked for 4 hours. And in those 4 hours, it was nothing about football. It was about life. It was about family.
Wow.
It was about perspective and all that. And I say that because the thing with Dan Campbell is Dan Campbell gets to know who you are as a person. He already knows the football acumens, because he's not an idiot. He watches tape. He knows a lot of people in many places. So he gets a lot of background on you already. He wants to know who you are as a person and how your attitude and your personality fits with his players and fits with them, the coaches, and the culture. And that's what I love about him, is that he is 100% genuine. He's definitely a guy. I say this all the time. He's definitely a guy that you go to a bar and you just want to buy a beer for, because he's just that chill. Like, he is so cool. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. You know, and shout out to Sean Payton, because Sean Payton brought him on as an assistant, and, you know, brought in Dennis Allen too. So Sean Payton's kind of the one where Campbell comes from the tree, but Campbell's already created his own tree. And I just love the guy. I mean,
yeah,
you want to run through a wall with that guy. You literally,
definitely. You know, these trees run deep. You know, some of them college connected, some of them, you know, just across the board NFL connected, as we see. And he was on a little bit earlier, so if you're just joining our show, I don't think I can get him back over here, but do want to wish my first son Lawson Snickers a happy 6th birthday. He was
happy birthday, Snickers.
Yes, Lawson, he's laying out right now. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back here, Nate and myself, for the second half of the show. You do not want to miss out. We need you to hang tight for about 92 seconds. We'll be right back.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
All right, so here's Lawson for you guys. Was able to get him back with his little birthday hat on. He thanks everyone, Lawson Snickers, for the love. And Nate, we thank you for hanging out with us. We're kicking off the second half of the show here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm loving it.
Yes, shout out to the Huddle Sports Network. And let me tell you one thing about me: people never come on once. Your family, once you come on that one time, it's like a gentle, friendly reminder. I'll be reaching out like, "Hey, what's your schedule looking like?" Ready for you to come back.
I always love talking football, especially now that basketball is kind of coming to an end. There's going to be a lot of free time in the evening, so yeah, I'd love to come back on. You're doing a hell of a job. Like,
thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I feel ESPN might be calling you at some point.
You know, my sister has a joke about that. She's had it for a little bit. She's like, she was literally sharing my lives and putting hashtag road to ESPN. So shout out to my sister, Anissa Jones, in North Carolina tonight. I really appreciate it. I received that. I kind of have an interest in being like a legal sports analyst as well, because I have a law background. So yeah. And James J. Train said Lawson is such a good sport wearing his birthday hat. He is, J. Train. Listen, I can't keep it on him the whole time. I've already taken it back off of him so he can relax. And I gave him your birthday wish earlier. So thank you so much for that from his uncle. Yeah, Nate. So we started kind of talking about a little bit, like you said, basketball is wrapping up. Just your opinion without going too far, because I don't think on you guys' show you talk too much NBA. But
we actually tried to do an NBA show, but it we started doing the huddle thing, and we're very grateful for the opportunity. But yeah, we want to go back and do it at some point. It's just that right now we're putting all our focus on making the 313 the best out.
Yes, so. But you still know, that some people are like, oh, I don't watch basketball at all. Like the Mavs.
Well, I'm a savant. I watch everything. So what you got?
So my question was, I personally think that the Celtics are going to get it done in 5 games. What are your thoughts on this? Like, they're playing the next game. It might be tonight or tomorrow. They're playing tonight. Yeah, they're playing.
Yeah, it's 50-51 right now in Dallas.
Thanks for that shout out. So the Mavs are trying to hang in there, because right now they're down 2 games, and there's no team since 2018 that has come back from a 2-0 deficit. It's literally only 5 teams in NBA history that's come back from a 2-0 deficit to come back and win the playoffs. And if the Celtics win tonight, I don't think there's any team that's come back from the 3-0. I think that's a 0 right there.
It's pretty much done. So
they blew them out really bad the first game. What are your thoughts on what may transpire? Do you think the Mavs get it done tonight?
I think, honestly, I don't know if it's going to be a sweep if Boston wins tonight. I think Dallas has some kind of idea or hope that they can win at least one game. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that Boston's kind of like the 49ers of the NFC. They're more a veteran. They're more of a veteran type of team, but they have dudes everywhere. Yeah. That's what Boston is. They have dudes everywhere. They have vets. They have Tatum. They have Brown. They have Holiday.
Porzingis though.
Porzingis is out, yes, but they have Horford. I mean, they have a legit starting 5, even without Porzingis. And the problem with Dallas is Dallas has got Kyrie and Luka. Yep. That's it.
That's it. And Kyrie is not the Kyrie he was a few years ago. He's only like Robin to Batman, in my opinion.
Right. And so it's an unfair series because I think people watch Boston and how talented they are. It's not surprising what they're doing. And the fact is that it's only a 1-point lead at halftime on the road. That's not good for Dallas. Because when you come home, you're expected to really blow them out or get that energy going. And the fact that Boston is only 1 point behind you at halftime, that's scary. Like Boston might not be playing their best and they're still right there. So
and resting. Because they got a whole lot of weapons.
Exactly. Yeah.
They have a whole lot of weapons. I mean, and let's just be clear, Boston really bounced back after that whole coaching debacle a couple of seasons ago. And so to see them come back, I'm not a Boston fan, but they already coast. I am a Jason Tatum fan because he's a Duke alum and I'm a big Duke fan. It's just going to be interesting to see. But like James said, if Boston wins tonight, you may as well open the broom closet up and pull out the mop bucket and the broom.
I don't think Dallas is going to get swept, but yeah, Kyrie is going off tonight, which is expected.
I mean, 5 games. 5 would mean they may win 1, and then that's going to be it. Because think about it.
I think they win 1. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's going to be it. So to me, one and done is almost a sweep. It's just delay and inevitable.
It's not the sweep. Yeah, exactly.
Well, all right. So let's get your opinion. Moving on away from NBA. Good luck to those guys. Mm-hmm. And James does say that Porzingis is out and Boston is still finding a way. Exactly.
Yeah, they're just deep and talented. That's what happens when you have one player go down. Somebody else steps up and gets the job done. That's just how Boston is.
Yeah. Speaking of getting the job done, there's no dollar amount that's publicized yet. If anyone knows, James, you're watching, you can feel free to look this up for me and drop it in the chat. 51-year-old Mike Tomlin, whose career was up and down. No one knew where he was going to be. 173 to 100 to 2 ties in his 17th season as head coach with the Pittsburgh Steelers, has now found himself in the last year of his contract with a 3-year extension. He was mostly successful during Ben Roethlisberger's time there, but of course, the Steelers are looking to be more back to the old school Steelers. We're having both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields there. Congratulations, first of all, to Mike Tomlin. Pittsburgh you don't hear of them firing their coaches. Like they just keep coaches. I think
they had
6 or 7 their whole.
Yeah. They had Cower and they had I don't remember the guy's name, but they had one coach and then they had Cower and now Tomlin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unreal because no matter what they look like, it's just like they're not gonna, and this is my thing. They always say that they are still winning. And my thing was always like, well, are they really winning? Because they were just in a wild card. But I guess that's a win if you think about it. I
mean,
just,
he hasn't had a losing season in his tenure, which is insane to think about. Now, are they on the cusp of getting to a Super Bowl? Probably not. But they have been competitive, and I feel like he gets the most out of his players. You know, I love Tomlin. I have nothing but the respect for him because, you know, in this world, minorities, it's hard to be a head coach for even a couple of years. Like, you know, it's such a short thing that they give you, as far as if you don't get it done, you're gone.
Yeah.
You know,
look at the Panthers. David Tepper gives you 18 months.
Yeah, exactly.
18
weeks. Wilkes got the boot like literally when he walked in the door.
Oh my God, poor Wilkes. I mean, he got the boot and he was winning. And then he went to the 49ers, go to the Super Bowl, and was not the reason why they lost, and got the boot again. Poor Steve Wilkes.
It's a cutthroat world out there, especially in coaching. But for a guy that was a defensive backs coach to get a shot at such a prestige franchise, and one that believes in truly giving everybody and anybody an opportunity, the Roonies, which are the platform for, you know, diversity, which I love. He's lasted 17 years. That's insane. Like, you're talking greatness in that aspect for him to be there that long and that storied franchise. And like I said, he's never had a losing season. You know, and you're not going to win a Super Bowl every year. Like, fans have to understand that. But Mike Tomlin's gotten rings. He's got rings to show.
Yeah.
He's
got some jewelry, as they say. And James said it right. He says the success is indicative of the storied Steelers history as a great organization. They're loyal to their staff, respect. And to that end, while we were chatting, Pittsburgh has had 16 coaches in their history, with the first being Forrest Dukes in 1933 for Forrest Dowd, my apologies. And all the way up to the last few coaches, the era that we would remember, would basically start, I guess, Chuck Noll, 1991.
Yes.
Are you kidding?
And then Cowher.
That's like 30
and then Cowher
years.
came on. Yeah. And then
That's
Cowher.
crazy.
And then Tomlin. Yeah.
Yes, but to know that they are literally coaching that long, like from basically 22 years as a coach, Chuck Noll, and then Bill Cowher, like 1992 to 2006. Like, that's from my high school all the way through my college. And then, of course, Chuck Noll was before I was even born, all the way up to the point I was a junior in high school. Crazy. And then Mike Tomlin's been there since 2007, winning the Motorola NFL Coach of the Year in 2008. Now, I mean, kudos to him. I mean, do you think there's really going to be a debacle with the quarterback position up there? Because, you know, I honestly was shocked, Nate, when I saw them bring Justin Fields there after they had gotten Russell Wilson. I mean, I know they got Russell for pennies because Denver's still paying them, but I guess it's kind of like a really good investment move, because in case, you know, and then you meet the minority quota, because you got 2 minority quarterbacks. What teams can say that? And you got a minority coach. It's a trifecta. So, but then they're talking about having Justin Fields run snaps and stuff, like not even quarterbacking him. I don't get that.
Yeah. I mean, if there's been one knock on Mike Tomlin, is probably he's outside of Ben Roethlisberger, he hasn't been the best at developing quarterbacks. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger fell into his lap. Like, the guy is a Hall of Famer, you know, won you championships, was steady Eddie the whole time. Now this is kind of like, okay, now Tomlin's really going to have to be creative on what he wants to do at quarterback, because like we talked about before, here's the thing. You either have a good quarterback, you have an okay quarterback, or you have no quarterback. I would say that right now the Pittsburgh Steelers have probably okay quarterbacks. Russell Wilson is long in the tooth. I'm afraid that his career is probably coming to an end very soon.
Yep, he's had his best days.
Yeah, and it's also it's not only has his play regressed so much, it's his mouth has gotten him in trouble.
Mhm.
You know, maybe it's Ciara, maybe it's him, maybe it's just comments they make. You can't do that in the NFL because other teams don't want to pick you. You know, we talk about Kaepernick. You know, Kaepernick fortunately said things, and the NFL blacklisted him. Let's just be real.
He's been,
you know,
the knee thing, all of that. I mean,
yeah, I understand it and I respect it, but the thing is that you have to know who your audience is.
Yep.
You know, and if you want to play again in the NFL, you have to play by their rules. It's unfortunate.
I mean, that's true. We all say that we can't go to our regular 9 to 5.
No.
And state a clause. Like, I get it. I'm glad for it. I know what they were doing, but there were so many mixed reactions to that. There were so many unclear reactions to that. People that didn't know, and then it just, this is my thing, Nate. I go and watch sports for an excursion, mental excursion from stress. Football is my happy place. That's why when the Panthers are losing really bad, I'm like, let me just find a team. Like, I'll say it on the show. Let me just find a team. That's how I became like really invested in the Lions. Let me find a team that really gives a flip and they're playing like they want to win and they got the tools. And I'm happy when I watch the game. And even if they lose some, I know they look good playing. So that's where I go for football. This is such a high stress, environment in the world. The older we get, the more stress we take on with jobs, personal relationships, what have you. And so football is my escape. And so I just personally was like, I don't want to see it. Then all of a sudden there's no national anthem. I'm not going to get into all that.
I'm really glad you said that because I actually had this conversation with my friend earlier yesterday because I don't know if you heard about the Harrison Butker speech that he gave.
Did I?
Stay
home and bake cakes and stuff or something?
Yeah, and on top of that, now the Chiefs he wants a new contract. Well, you think the Chiefs are gonna, you're kind of becoming a PR nightmare for us in some good ways and people portraying other ways. Now it's like,
but wait a second, Nate. He did save the life of his linebacker who just had a cardiac arrest.
I did hear about.
He was the one. He was the one that noticed that and got him help. So I think that's going to balance out a little bit.
Yeah, but this is just my opinion, and I'm going to make this very, very clear. This is my opinion. I don't want to hear what other players have to say about issues outside of playing the game. Yeah, because I do agree with you. I tune away from life to watch sports. Sports is my escape. So I'm 100% with you on that. And though I do respect what they say, I think that if you want to have those platforms, cool. There's a day off. It's called Tuesday.
Yes.
Give it all you want Tuesday. But don't put it into the sports arena because, and this is just entertainment in general. This goes for rappers. This goes for artists. This goes for basketball players. This goes for anybody who gives entertainment that we pay
everything.
For.
Yes. I don't want it shoved down my throat. I don't want
just keep it whatever you got going on and what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Outside of that, you can have whatever you want on Twitter or whatever. I don't read any of that crap anyway, so by all means, go for it. But when we're talking about the game that I love, the game that I want to sit down and enjoy, I don't want to think about controversy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it makes it not fun. No. It just, to me. And so I'm hoping, that we could just focus on good football, less injuries, good competition, and just a really good, feel good time. And I know a lot of our audience agrees with that. I do hold a platform where, people may come on here sometimes and have a difference of opinions about things, but it's very respectful. It's usually about little minor stuff, like about my team is garbage. And of course, even if we lost every game for 5 years, I'm going to say we're the champs. Okay. Even though I say I'm so tired of them losing and I need a new team, I still have a personalized Panthers Georgia plate on my car that everyone knows I have Falcon fans blowing and waving at me, especially if they win. Like they'll hurry and flag me down. I've had people, hurry up and gun me down on the road, like, oh my God, like waving and, pointing and stuff. But it's part of the fun, to know.
Trash talking is part of the NFL.
It is.
I mean, not NFL, I'm sorry. Trash talking is part of loving football. The problem I have, and I'm just going to go a little point here. The problem I have with trash talking is when you start talking about something that has nothing to do with your team.
Yes.
When you get personal and you start attacking somebody for who they are as a person rather than their team. Listen, you could say all day the Lions suck. I don't care. It's whatever. That's your opinion. Whatever. Cool. I'm cool with it. But when you start attacking me as a person or the way I think, that's where I have the problem. And I think people need to really check themselves in that aspect and realize that, hey, we're all here to have fun. We're all here to razz on your team if they suck, whatever it is. I mean, we were 0-16 at some point. You don't think I heard it from people? It happened.
Oh, yeah.
But it's when you get personal and start getting into other areas that you don't want to get into or step away from. That's where that needs to stop.
And J Train says it best, because we talked about this on the show. They still got Rashee Rice up there, and he's run over people and everything. Harrison was giving this to a private college that they are conservative. The college as a whole is conservative. And the only reason why it's such a big PR nightmare, so to speak, is because we live in a social media era. Everybody's recording everything. Everybody's tweeting, retweeting, posting, TikToking, everything. So you can't have anything just in the confines of where you are anymore.
Let me say this real quick about that, because he brings up a good point. Yes, I understand it was a conservative school. Yes, I understand it was church first and everything else second. I get that part. That doesn't mean you have to portray your beliefs on these people that weren't expecting that. Why can't you just say, hey guys, it's going to be hard out there. Educate yourself, do right, make right decisions. There's no reason to put all those stuff out there just because you're playing to the crowd, which, quite frankly, the crowd wasn't even expecting it.
Right. I said that.
And then you put yourself in a situation that now people know who you are. You've gone viral. And like anything in life, there's going to be people that agree with you and there's going to be people that don't agree with you. Yeah. And again, you've got to know your audience. Like, people, right or left, people buy football tickets. And you're putting yourself in a situation now where now the Kansas City Chiefs are going to think like, well, man, what kind of backlash is he going to get when the games go? If you start sucking, how bad is it going to get for him? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just painted more of a target on your back.
And right. So even though that was bad, this is my opinion, because I'm pretty conservative. At least I grew up conservative.
Sure.
I've gotten more liberal as I've gotten older, but my core values remain the same.
Sure.
And I personally feel like, okay, you can say that, but there's a way to bridge it with everything else. I believe that women should be as progressive as they want to and can still be great moms and great wives and all this good stuff, and still be educated and still be a doctor or a neurosurgeon or a lawyer or whatever. Sure. I still believe that. And I think he just did not know how to strike a balance. When you combine that with Rashee Rice, who could have catastrophically injured people or taken their lives, you're talking about two separate things. And this is my thing. If Rashee Rice is still on that field after all of that, and someone said he assaulted them in a nightclub and they decided not to press charges.
I heard about that too, yeah.
Then you may as well just say, okay, Harrison was running his mouth. He had diarrhea of the mouth. He didn't know when to say what he had to say. He didn't watch his audience. And so he made a blooper for all intents and purposes. That is way better what he said, even though people are going to be all in an uproar. I'm just the type of female that I always look at the bigger picture. I'm just not always like, oh, women's rights. I look at what literally is right. So a lot of people that know me, they're like, girl, you think like a guy. And maybe it's because I was a tomboy. I literally legit think like a man on a lot of stuff. And I'm just like, no, it's just what's right. And whereas he should not have said that, he should have merged it. In my mind, I'm like, it's way worse that Rashid Rice is beating up on people and running them over on the road than, some verbal words.
It just shows you that we don't hold these athletes more accountable. And that's my problem with the NFL is it's so herky jerky. You suspend one player 6 games for gambling on a football game, not even NFL, and somebody who beats up his wife gets 3 games.
Oh my! Why is Von Miller still in the league? Are you freaking kidding me? They had a video and everything.
Yeah,
I'm floored. I'm floored about that.
It's just the incompetency, and it's the lack of structure in the NFL. The NFL is all about making money. Everything is all geared towards making money. However they make it, they're gonna do it. They're gonna put gambling in. Great. You're gonna put every commercial out there about betting, but yeah, you're gonna punish your players for doing, for doing something like that. It's not even NFL. Like
it's not.
It's hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy.
I want to talk about 2 big subjects before we get off of here. Hey, James, again, thank you so much. You said great viewpoints from everyone he loves. Thank you so much, J. Trey.
Yeah,
we're always talking about how to bring things in, and we're gonna be doing that because not trying to get too far on it for now because I got to talk about 2 other things. But even in statistics with different sports, now they're going back finding artifacts from Negro leagues of baseball and what have you and other sports, and then you're like, well, wait a minute, is this person really the number one, or is this person? And I think you have to look at it from a perspective of where was the team during that time. Chicago does not have just one world championship, but most younger Bears fans and people that are not Bears fans at all only know that they had that 85 Super Bowl. When you go to Soldier Field, they have multiple world champions.
The Lions too.
Earned before the Super Bowl, and that's what I was getting ready to get at. You guys, before the Super Bowl, which just came out in the 60s, you were world champs. So to say they never won a champ, that is not correct.
It's because we live in a world. It's because we live in a world of names. Like just like you buy brands, you recognize names. If it's not the Super Bowl, it's not irrelevant.
Yes.
Like if you're not hosting Lombardi, it's not irrelevant. But the truth is that yes, it was a championship because it was an NFL championship. It just wasn't the Super Bowl because they didn't have the Super Bowl. It wasn't created yet.
Yeah, and I got, as we literally have like a minute and a half left, I gotta get this really squeezed in.
Go for it.
So first I gotta get the Panthers news out there. If you guys have not heard, the Panthers, they put this video out earlier last week or this week where they're going to be doing renovations. People are so hyped up. They put the video like, this is what the stadium's going to look like, fan experience, blah, blah, blah. The history that David Tepper had with the practice facility now being, dismantled because he didn't get the money down in Mint Hill, South Carolina, which is on the border. Well, now it comes out today that the Carolina Panthers could actually be moving. If Charlotte does not agree to a $650 million stadium deal, the Panthers could be moved from the area. A little bit of heartbreak and shock because this has happened before. This has been talked about before, but I don't know by this article if they're saying we could move from Charlotte or if we could be moving from the Carolinas as a whole. In other words, on some St. Louis stuff. Really worried about that. And then as we get ready, I'll let you kind of see if you got a comment on that, Nate, and then we'll wrap up with this last bit and then we'll sign off. You have any thoughts about our stadium?
I mean, it's tough. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I like the Panthers in Charlotte. Hopefully it's just down the street or something like that. But the reality is that a lot of these people are not wanting to pay these stadiums anymore. Like it's a tug war and it's expensive and they don't want their money going to a stadium that they're probably never going to go to. So
yeah, that's true. And as we have about 30 seconds left, Brazil has gang colors of green, y'all. And so the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers, who are playing in week 1, are prohibited from wearing green. In
Stupid.
fact, the teams,
And
someone lost their job clearly because they didn't do their homework on this one. The teams,
the NFL lost their job.
Yes,
Stupid.
they are going to have
Stupid.
to be escorted in armored trucks while they are there in Brazil because of the issue with being targeted by these gangs. As we get ready to sign off, your thoughts on that, Nate? Definitely enjoyed you on the show.
I mean, it's just, yeah, thank you very much. It's stupid for the NFL to even have two teams that are predominantly green if you know the rules. Like, that just speaks
to
to
send them over there.
Yeah.
To send, you could have picked the 49ers and the Cardinals before you did that.
Exactly, or the Lions.
But Nate, it's been real. That time went by so fast.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it always does.
Having you on. Thank you for all the
Likewise.
comments and love. And everyone, we wish you a good night. I'll be back on tomorrow night at 7. And we bid everyone a good night.
This is Northeast Streaming Sports.